Hi. Okay. I'm not sure if you guys were able to hear me, but I'll repeat that what I said really quickly was that I am Katie. I am the enrollment coach for the Professional Coaching for Life and Work certificate here at UC Davis. Today, I'm going to be going through the summer 2023 cohort, which will start in August. And as you can see, we have an application for this program, which will be due July 7th. So about a week and some change from now. So let's go through our slideshow together. Like I mentioned, I am Katie. I'm your enrollment coach. It's just me on the call today. So if you have any questions, please really do feel free to write them in the Q&A. If you don't want to forget, you can put them in there now. You can wait until we're towards the end of the program, but I will be sure to open it up for Q&A at the end if there's anything we don't cover. But right now, there's no one monitoring the chat. So go ahead and put it in the Q&A and I will get to it a little bit later. Lupe is our program manager. She's there for you once you've entered the program. So I just wanted to put her contact information on there as well so that you could meet your support team. As your enrollment coach, I'm here to help answer all of your questions about the logistics, about pricing. We also have a finance coordinator who I'll introduce to you later. She'll be there if you're going to use any type of aid. And my contact information is on this slide. If you would like to get a hold of me, I've put my phone number and my email address on this slide for you guys. Next, I'd like to introduce you to our program directors. This program has been with UC Davis for 10 plus years now, and you can see that they were started by Carol Bennett and Michelle Payne. Michelle is a master level coach, which requires over 2,500 hours of coaching experience. Carol is a professional level coach, a level 2, and has her PhD. You can see they're both currently working as coaches in the field. Michelle is at C Strategies and Carol is at Sutter Health. Our agenda for today, we're going to really identify what is coaching and sort of differentiate it between other services that are similar. We're going to go through the program's details, what our philosophy is. We're going to talk about the schedule. We're going to talk about how this relates to the International Coaching Federation if you do want to go on to get certified at one of the ICF's 3 levels. What are some of the program benefits? And then we'll end with a Q&A. And of course, we'll talk about cost and financing in there as well. So coaching is a partnering with the clients in a thought-provoking, creative process that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential. I have a little infographic on this slide that kind of helps you see what careers are similar to coaching and how they differ and what they focus on. So similar to consultants, to therapists, to counselors, to mentors. But I actually have a video from one of our previous program managers. Her name is Heather, and she actually got a chance to go through the coaching program, and she does a great job kind of differentiating the nuances between all of these careers. So I'm going to play that video for us next, just because I think she does such a phenomenal job of explaining.
So what do I mean when I say coaching? And when we say coaching here at UC Davis, we use the ICF definition, and that is a standard that's been set for over a decade, and it's really about being a partner. You're asking creative, thought-provoking questions to really draw out answers from the client rather than give the answers to the client. And sometimes it's easier to explain what something is by saying what it's not, right? So coaching is not mentoring. A mentor has been there, done that, gone through the process, and they'll say, this is what works. You should X, Y, Z. That can be great in the right situation. That is not coaching. Coaching helps the person find their own solutions, because whether we're 3 years old or 33 years old or 65 years old, you're always more likely to follow through if it was your idea. If you've decided to do something rather than somebody says, you know what you should do. So that's the idea behind that coaching philosophy. Consultants, counselors, therapists, these are other things that can be confused with coaching, especially counselors and therapists. And to differentiate that in the simplest terms, we say those professionals look at your past. They say, what in your past is keeping you from moving forward today? Whereas a coach, when their client sits down in front of them, you see them as a full, capable person in front of you and say, what are the barriers in front of you keeping you from doing what you want to do? So it's forward and future focused. Do you encounter things in people's past that are keeping them from moving forward? Absolutely. So we go into when it's appropriate to refer. It's very important to recognize these things. And if mental health is involved, it can happen. And so your very first course in this program is coaching ethics. And there's lots of time spent on knowing when you and who to refer your clients to. A lot of people end up in both therapy and coaching to cover past and future. So that's our philosophy. What makes this program different from other programs that you might be looking at? I'm all about right program for the right person, so do your research. This program is awesome because we coach the fundamentals, the core competencies as defined by the ICF. There are 8 of them now, so as you go through the program, you're going to learn these core skills. It's like if you're going to play basketball, you've got to have good footwork, you've got to have good handwork, you've got to be able to dribble, regardless of what position you might end up playing. And the same goes for a coach. Whether you're going to be a life coach, an executive coach, work with adults or children, the core skills to a really good coach are going to be the same. And then, of course, then you specialize. So what happens is because we're focused on these core skills, we have people from all different walks of life come together in this program. People who are interested in all of these different kinds of coaching, and they have these ideas about what they're going to do with their coaching. They come together and you get this amazing mix of people that you learn so much from. As much as you do in class, you're learning from your cohort mates. And as you're spending a lot of time, hours and hours with these people. And that's part of the program that we build on purpose. That's why we have an application. We're really just looking for people who are going to contribute to this true melting pot of a cohort. So that's how we're different than some of the other programs out there that really specialize first. Like if you know, hands down, I want to do health coaching, there's a program by the Mayo Clinic. It's great. Look it up. If we've had people take our program first to get the base skills and then go to the Mayo Clinic to specialize, works really well. So yes, do all your research. Let us know if you have extra questions, but that's really one of the differentiators sort of as far as style goes for the program.
Awesome. Okay, so that was Heather. I'm glad she was able to kind of explain that for us. One of the key takeaways, of course, is that coaches help you come to the conclusions that your clients already have with inside themselves and then provide some accountability and focus on the future. We have aligned all of our curriculum with the International Coaching Federation's core competencies. And then we specialize in life coaching and leadership and executive coaching. There are a handful of other specializations, but we focus on life and work and also help you meet all of the core competencies for the ICF. So the structure of the program, we offer a cohort in the winter, which is January for us. We're on the quarter system. So the winter quarter and the summer cohort or summer quarter. So January and August are when we offer these cohorts. The class meets for 5 months on alternating Fridays and Saturdays. You do need to attend both days. It meets in a remote classroom over Zoom, and it will meet from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. when we go to the class, what you can expect to cover is going to be the essentials, like ethics. That's part of the essentials, like Heather mentioned. You're going to be going over core competencies, the mindset of a coach, the conversations coaches are having, and you'll finish with some mastery work. On this page, and don't worry, I will email this to you. This is going to give you an example of what modules we are covering and what days and times we are covering them. I said alternating Fridays and Saturdays. There is a holiday that fell on a Saturday that kind of makes the word alternating. I'm using it loosely in this case. So you can see that it falls kind of sporadically, but it is 9 Fridays and it is 11 Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And sometimes our students have flexible schedules. Sometimes our students will work a very traditional 40-hour work week, 9 to 5. Sometimes our students have bosses that are flexible and allow them to take Fridays off. Other times we have students who will work kind of a modified schedule during this 5-month period so that they work 40 hours Monday through Thursday and then take those Fridays off as needed. You can see on this schedule that we have demo days. Those days are testing. You are not able to miss those days and they cannot be made up. Because we partner with the ICF, you meet an hour requirement, like an educational hour requirement. So that is why this has to be done kind of in such a large amount of time, is because we're meeting this requirement, and why it's not really flexible in terms of like missing days or like catching up at a different time. So this is the schedule that we have for now. That's kind of some strategies our students use in order to be able to attend the Friday or Saturday schedule. And it is not very flexible, especially on the demo days. Okay, so the tuition for the entire program is $9,500. That is due at the time of enrollment. You will also need to apply for the program. The application is due July 7th. That is not this Sunday, but next Sunday. That's going to include your tuition. It's going to include your course materials. The $9,500 will obviously include your tuition, but it'll also include your course materials. It includes your textbooks. We pair you with a mentor so that you're able to meet your mentor hour requirement. We pair you with one community member for 6 hours of coaching experience. And you'll also receive a Zoom Pro license while you're in this program. And you will also receive your certificate free of charge. Typically, there's a fee to receive your certificate that is waived as part of your tuition. So when you're applying online, the application is free to apply. It's a handful of questions. I'll show you next. We don't have an interview process, so this application is really a chance for us to get to know you. So you'll want to complete the application by July 7th. I try and check for applications every day. I send them to our program team for a decision, and then if approved, I would say it takes 1 to 3 days, max 3 days. And I'll be able to get back to you with your decision. And then if you are approved, I will send you an email with instructions on how you can enroll. We will be allowing people with approved applications to enroll through July 14th. The program starts on August 4th. So that 2-week period is going to give us enough time to mail out all of the materials to our students. So that's how we have that deadline. If some of you are on this call and you applied for the scholarship has now closed, but we did just start offering an annual scholarship. The deadline has passed, but some of you might be on the call who have applied for that scholarship. Just message me if you haven't already, and we will work together to make sure you can hear back from the scholarship before you enroll. If that doesn't apply to you, just ignore that. For everyone else, the enrollment payment due is July 14th. So the online application, like I said, you're going to create a profile. It's going to include your work history. Part of the prerequisites is that you are required to have 5 years of work history. It can be in anything. We're just looking for 5 years of actual work experience. And then you'll answer these 4 questions, which speak to your short and long-term professional objectives. What are your past experience that contributed to those objectives? How did you get here? Why do you want to pursue a certificate in coaching? And maybe tell us about a time when you received coaching, some feedback, and what kind of impact did that have on your life? So like I was saying, we partner with the International Coaching Federation, which is like a globally recognized organization where they offer credentials. Our program is offering the education, it's offering the mentor hours, it's offering a little bit of client pairing. But when you partner with the ICF to get a credential, you'll sit for one of their exams. And there are 3 levels of exams. You can see there's associate, professional, and master. And when you sit for the exam, you have to meet some of their prerequisites. I'll show you that on the next slide. But with our program, you receive 150 academic credit hours of coach-specific training. So you will actually be qualified to take the level 2 exam once you meet your coaching experience hours. Sorry. Okay. So on this slide, the blue is the associate level, the orange or yellow is the professional level, and the orange is the master level. So you can see if we go to the yellow level that you will have 150 hours of the coach specific training. It only requires 125. UC Davis will also give you the 10 hours required for a qualified mentor coach. We will give you 2 letters of reference for the coach reference requirement. And then you will also sit for the exam. We've never had anyone fail the exam. In the middle, coaching experience, you'll see that in order to take the exam or to get this credential, you'll need to have a minimum of 500 hours of coaching experience. Our program pairs you with a community member, and you will receive 6 hours of coaching experience from that community member. 500 hours is a lot. Typically, our students, a lot of them are pursuing this ICF credential, so they will work with other members of the cohort in order to qualify for that level, like get that number, that minimum of 500 hours. So you and mostly everyone else in the cohort also needs 500 hours. And so there is a minimum on how many of these hours have to be paid and how many can be unpaid, but there's no minimum on what you have to get paid. So typically students in the cohort will like trade $1 or they'll trade for another hour of coaching and essentially just use each other as a resource to help build that 500 hours. Other students are maybe already doing coaching in their current position. And so sometimes you can sort of kill 2 birds with 1 stone in that sense. And students will coach a little bit at their office in their current position, but you can always use friends and family or friends of friends and build your coaching hours that way. So like I said, just to summarize, you'll get 150 hours of the coach specific training. You will get the 10 hours of qualified mentor coaching. You will complete a majority of the coaching experience outside of the program, but you will get the letter of reference and you will be prepared to pass the exam. Whew, that was a lot. I will also send this to you guys and as well, but again, this is just for the International Coaching Federation. Also, I have a video from Heather. I think she does a pretty good job of explaining this. Might be good. She might repeat a little bit of what I said, but it's a lot to process. So I think it'll be good to hear it again, even if she does repeat a little bit.
The ICF stands for the International Coach Federation. I highly recommend Googling that and taking a look on their website. If you're interested in coaching, you're probably interested in the ICF. They are the number one, or if not the number one, then 1 and 2, just to leave open for possibilities, professional association for coaching and in the world, because it is an international federation. In this federation, we follow their competencies, as I spoke, and we're an approved provider. So you'll see here, accredited coach training program. You may see the acronym ACTP, or they're moving to a new lingo. So we'd be a level 2 is another term that you might see out there. And so here's what you're going to get out of that: 150 hours of class, of training hours. And there are 3 different kinds of hours that you need to get in order to get your certification. So that's your training hours. You'll have plenty. And then you can see there are the 3 different levels: associate certified, professional certified, and master certified. And the difference between those levels are how much education you've had and how much practice you've had. Here is a table with a lot of words on it. But basically what I want to point out is this blue column. And you'll see at the top ACC. So this is that first level in the ICF. And you'll have a bunch of items that are needed to sit. Ultimately, at the very bottom, you'll see to sit for that exam, which is $100 if you're already a member of the ICF, or if you haven't joined the ICF as a member, it's $200. I think they may have upped the prices since this graph came out, so we now may be looking at $200 and $300. But just know there's a price to take the exam, and to get there, you have to do all of these things. Green check marks. No, go back. Green check marks mean the program takes care of that for you. It means basically, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We have that for you. So what's left that you need to do? Blue circle. That's called coaching experience, or often you'll just hear coaching hours, practice hours. So that's the second kind of hour. I mentioned earlier there are 3. So there's the training, which is what you're going to do in class, your homework. That's all us, training hours. Then there's your practice hours. That is outside of class, where you're coaching friends, family, strangers, whoever you can get your hands on to practice. The client that we give you, that's practice hours. So you can rack up some practice hours that way. And then the final kind of hour are mentor hours. And if you remember, I mentioned we provide mentors for you. So those hours we also take care of. So the one thing that you need to worry about are your practice hours. Everything else, you just give UC Davis, give ICF your UC Davis certificate, and they say, oh, UC Davis, perfect, check, 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 check. Did you do your 100 hours? You'll see in that circle. You say, I sure did. And they say, okay, take the exam, which you will pass because we've never had anybody fail that exam. And you will have that first level. The really cool thing about UC Davis is that if you look at the yellow column, that next level PCC, professional, we do all of that too. So you finish this program, you can go ahead and get that first level ACC as soon as you have 100 practice hours. You say, awesome, great. I've been doing a ton of coaching, Heather. Now I have 500. So I got 400 more. I have 500 hours. I say, super awesome, congrats. Give them your UC Davis certificate again. And they'll say, do you have 500 practice hours? You say, yes, I do. And they say, here's your PCC. Put it up on your website, put it up on LinkedIn, and go out and be an awesome coach. So you don't even have to take another exam at that point. So the gist of all of that is that this program gets you both levels. It's the only things that are left for you to work on are your practice.
Okay, awesome. Hopefully that kind of oriented you to the ICF and what the requirements are outside of the program and what the program is able to offer you. Another amazing resource that we have is actually our UC Davis Coaching Facebook page. This is complete with everyone who's really ever taken the UC Davis coaching program. You will have access to this once you are an alumni, and it's an amazing resource. A lot of our students are posting in there, and also a great place to meet other alumni and sort of ask questions and best practices and ideas. Additionally, this program is offered for academic credit, so you will earn 15 academic units from UC Davis. These will exist on a transcript. It is a letter grade class. It is not available for pass-fail option. It's a letter grade. And once you complete that certificate, if you are interested in getting a master's degree in organizational learning and effectiveness from University of the Pacific here in Sacramento, you can take your degree. There's a transfer agreement, so you'll just need to take the remaining 7 classes and the capstone, and then you will have your master's in organizational learning and effectiveness from Pacific. This is a nice way because yes, you will have 15 academic units, but it is up to the receiving institution, if you do go on to get a graduate degree, about whether or not they accept any or all of those units. So it's nice that we already have a transfer agreement with Pacific where that's in place if you're interested in this graduate degree. So let's talk about financing your education. We have several different options that are available. However, we do not qualify for any federal aid, meaning if you've applied for the FAFSA, we do not qualify for that type of funding. However, there are 2 private student loans that we are able to offer students. They are not subsidized by the government. They are based on your credit. So the rate of repayment is going to be based on your application. They're going to look at your credit score. But we work directly with Sallie Mae and we work with College Avenue. These are great options if you want to make payments on your tuition after the program begins. There are no payment plans through UC Davis. The student loan is going to be the best way to go if you want kind of a payment plan, because your tuition is due at the time of enrollment. We also work with the Veterans Benefits or the GI Bill. If you would like to get your benefits certified, you're going to want to contact Suzette Odom. Her email address is on the top of the screen. I can help you do like a warm handoff. If you want to message me too, I can get you guys introduced. But Suzette will kind of look at your benefits and let you know what the next step is. Sometimes you prepay and your benefits reimburse you. Sometimes the Veterans Office pays for it. But then we also have some state subsidies that you might want to look into on our website. I'm going to email out this link as well as a recording of the video, but you might want to check out our website to see if any of these state funded options apply to you. It does say payment plan option on this slide, which is confusing, but that time has passed. If you're looking at a future cohort, we sometimes allow students to put a little bit of money down before the program begins. That time has passed. It's kind of confusing, so I just wanted to explain that. But yeah, you're going to look on our website for any of the state grants. If you qualify for veterans benefits, then you're going to want to message Suzette. If you're interested in a private student loan, you can look at Sallie Mae or College Avenue. And then as kind of a thank you for attending today's information session discount, I'm going to be emailing every single one of you the discount code that you can apply when you're enrolling in this program. It'll get you $100 off, which is exciting. So that's just kind of a thank you for attending today. And that's kind of the end of my presentation. So let's open it up to questions. I have a few here in the Q&A. Oh, so Frank said, I received an email stating that the application was due July 9th. Yes, I am so sorry. My brain is melting. July 7th, I think, is the Friday, but we extended it to Sunday. That way people have time to actually work on the application over the weekend. So July 9th is correct. Very sorry. I have a 1-year-old and I have about one brain cell left. So July 9th. Thanks, Frank. As a coach, can we specialize in more than one specialization? Yes, absolutely. If you would like to be able to offer a wide variety of coaching for people, our program just focuses on life and on work, but like that graph showed, there are several different areas, niches, where you can support people as a coach. One person asks, do people typically come to the program having coaching experience, and are they taking the program to get certified, or are they usually new to the practice? It's such a variety. I would say maybe like 70-30. 70% of the people are just passionate about coaching and maybe they have like a limited experience. And then a smaller population has been in a uncertified coach role professionally, like they've done it, but not as like their main source of business, not in a formal capacity. So 70-30, most people don't, but a handful of people have been in that role informally. Are we considered an alumni of UC Davis after completed this program? For example, will we be able to utilize alumni services? That's a good question. I am not sure. I don't know, but I can write that down. If you want to send me an email, I can try and get the answer for you and get back to you. Okay. Are you able to provide contact information for students that have gone through the program so that I can confirm this program is for me? Unfortunately not. I'm not able to give out anyone's private contact information. I'm more than happy to email you a couple of the feedback that we've gotten from students. That will also be anonymous. I'm not sure if you're interested in that, but I'm happy to send that to you if you'd like a little bit more feedback directly from students. Can you please share a link with a scholarship and or grant information? Absolutely. I can. Our scholarship deadline for the CPE scholarship has passed, but I can email you a link that's got some like ways that you can brainstorm for grants that are out there for continuing education students. And then of course, I'll link to our finance page as well. The size of the cohort, that's a good question. I would say we'll probably have about 30 students in this cohort for the summer. Does this program provide help with getting clients or guidance on where and how to market oneself to get clients? That's a great question. No, our program focuses specifically on the skill set that you will need. However, the ICF actually offers a class on basically coaching entrepreneurship. And so that's typically what I suggest for students that are trying to answer that particular question. Oh, okay. Are there allowances for absences? There are 2 dates during the program that I will be unavailable due to work constraints. So you will be able to miss 2 days of the program. Those 2 days cannot be during the demonstration days. Those are the days that we do testing. You are not able to miss them. Missing 2 days is about 10% of the program. And after that, you will not meet the hour requirement for the coaching experience for the ICF. If you miss more than that, that's the consequence. You'll still be able to finish the course and you'll get your grade on a transcript. Of course, the absences is part of your grade, but that's essentially what will happen in terms of allowances for absences. Someone is interested in the January cohort. What is the timeline? I do not have a schedule for the January cohort, but it will run January through May. Also the Friday, Saturday 9 a.m. to 4 is about the same schedule, and it'll be January through May. I am a full-time patient safety coach at UCF. Does that give me credit for coaching hours? It could potentially, if you are meeting all of the requirements and you're coaching one-on-one for about an hour, yes, you should be able to double dip. How can people position the UC Davis certificate alone without the ICF component? So if you're not interested in pursuing the ICF credentialing, you can absolutely still operate as a coach. Usually the ICF gives it a little bit of like professionalism, a little bit more like marketability, because you've sort of like checked that box, but there is no like governing body when it comes to coaching. So you could still get clients and just show them that you have the education and market yourself that way. Please say again when the summer cohort starts. This program is going to run August 4th through December 2nd. I will also email out the schedule as well so that you can have that. One person joined us a little late and they want to know if the program is offered virtually or physically. The program is entirely virtual. You will not need to be physically present for anything. The class is entirely over Zoom. Okay, so is there a tuition for being a UC employee? What is the job market like? Do program graduates who are in the workforce come and speak to future students? What is the payment plan like that you mentioned? Okay, there are not discounts for being a UC employee, I wish. The job market, it totally depends on where you're at. And I couldn't speak to every job market. This is a growing field. Every day, people are taking coaches more and more seriously, the same way that people are taking therapy more seriously. But not everyone needs to unpack some trauma. Sometimes people want to actually just get to the next step in their life and need some help unpacking what their ambitions are and how to get themselves to that position. And that's where coaches come into play. And so I think in that sense, the job market is sort of wide open. It is still an entrepreneurial field in the sense that you might get a little creative. You might join a company like I showed you our instructor. She works for C Strategies. So you might join a company where you're the coach for their employees, or you might have your own practice. In terms of career services, we do have a little bit of career services in the sense that we have a job board that our CPE alumni are able to use. And it also gives you some help editing your resume, practicing for interviews, and editing a cover letter, which is really nice. Oh, and then some also asked about the payment plan. Okay, so keep in mind, the payment plan does not apply to this upcoming cohort. Those deadlines have passed, but in the future cohorts, before the program begins, students are allowed to maybe like 6 weeks in advance, or 3 months in advance, I can't remember the exact days, but in advance of the program beginning, you can put down half of the payment, and then maybe like 2 weeks before it begins, you will put down the remaining balance. So it's a payment plan, but it all exists before the program begins. Otherwise, payment plans that exist after the program begins are going to be like private student loan options. Okay. Yes, I can absolutely send the slides. I can send the link to the financing page, to scholarships, and the book list as well is what I'll send out. Question about the number of hours outside of work or outside of the program. It's very minimal. I would say you need to study for the test that come up, but you won't need to do a lot of reading outside of the class. I think there's a few assignments that might amount to like an hour and a half, but that's over the course of 5 months on top of some studying that you'll do. How would you describe the approach of the program in regards to the split between theory and practice? You do a lot of practice. I know that it's a Zoom class, but it's very hands-on. You're going to learn the theory. That's probably like 30% of the class, 40% of the class, depending on what the topic is. And then you actually break out into breakout rooms and practice it with other cohort members. Do you recognize if someone has already had previous coach training? No, the program is sort of offered as is. We aren't able to adjust anything based on previous experience. I hope that helps. Will all the materials be sent in one package or gradually as we move through the program? They'll all be sent in one package to you. Does the certificate qualify for third-party pay? Yes. If you have an employer that is able to offer some tuition assistance, I can help you set up a purchase order. I'll send over a form that they can sign, and then we can invoice your company. Okay. Can I share the slide with the different certification levels? Yes, absolutely. I will include that as well. How do working professionals fit in working toward the 500-hour requirement? Is it best to divide it into a certain amount of hours weekly? I think that's just going to depend on like how quickly you want to get this done and what your availability is in terms of who you can coach and when you can coach them. So I don't have a particular strategy. I think it's going to depend on what works best for you. 7 hours is a long time on Zoom. Is the day structured with interactive activities, breakout rooms? Yes, absolutely. 7 hours is definitely a long time. The Zoom fatigue is real. So they try and break it up as considerate as possible. So there will be activities, there will be coaching that happens in between the cohort members, breakout rooms, discussions, and of course, breaks and lunch, all of that will be built into the program. Awesome. Okay, I think that's all of the questions. I have a lot of things to email you guys. And if anything comes up afterwards, please feel like you can email me. I know the application deadline is right around the corner, so please feel like you can email me. I'm happy to answer any questions for you. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing your time with me. I hope you have guys have a good day and a good weekend. Safe 4th of July and take care.